100% off the strength, man.
Off the strength.
I did it all on the strength, all on the strength. Fuck talking, I'ma do this off the strength.
Run it back, can't relax, that's just facts off the strength.
It's off the strength. Can't get that off the strength.
You know, I worked in the computer lab at LIU.
No, I did not.
A dude came in there with a floppy disk one day. Was like, yo,
that's basically what I'm dealing with.
I've been away for a little bit. I need to get my resume off of here. I said, on a floppy disk, fam?
I was like, listen, champ.
Let me get the converter. We had to get the floppy disk converter that turned into a USB.
Whatever you had typed up, I promise you it's not worth converting.
Yo, where you been since?
You know where he been
since 02.
He been up north, bro. He wasn't the chef up north, but...
What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
In the unfortunate position to die too early, people get to rewrite your story and they get to tell you about all types of stuff. So now suppose that Nelly or Snoop check out, they're just gonna be lifelong Trump supporters the whole time. You ain't gonna get none of the other facts that came along with this man's life. I think in my lifetime, if I ever accomplish something that is very novel, I gotta make sure that my family is on that Marvin Gaye, yo, don't play around with our name, our legacy type of time.
Cut me a check.
Because people be getting out of hand when you pass and they start to just throw your name on everything if you're a notable person, bro.
Yeah.
We are on the preface of MLK Eve, bro.
You stop it right now.
MLK selling all types of shit that I know Martin Luther King won't be at all associated with or involved with, bro.
It reminds me of that Walmart with the Juneteenth merch, like the paper plates.
He's like, I had a dream, and Sleepy's has a sale this weekend. I'll get your best dream on.
Wake up!
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we're giving you an inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course, with me, I got a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store for a treat because it's the return of the variety show. That's when you get our best foot forward. So hopefully you take your best foot forward. You do that two-step, that tango, whatever it is you need to do to make it on through the week with the best goddamn wellness information available.
Yay!
Now, Brother Jones.
What's the word?
How you feeling this week, my friend?
Man, it's been a week, brother. But I will say that I got double use out of my single-use plastic.
I don't understand what that means.
I'm gonna lay it out for you, brother. When I had my cold brew this morning.
Okay.
My cold brew plastic cup and ice then turned into a cup of ice to hydrate my yoga practice with some water.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Most times you get that single-use plastic and you just throw it away. I got that double use.
I don't know if you should be doing that.
True. When we get into microplastics and how they trying to kill us, I normally drink out of a glass bottle. It was just, I was up early today. I went and grabbed some coffee.
You were making the most of your resources.
I was making the most of what was at my disposal.
I like that.
I think that's what was huge for me this week. I really got a chance to focus on myself and progressively overload a lot of time for my business development, my personal fitness improvements, content creation, and relaxation, brother.
My man, I love hearing all of that for you, brother.
How was your week?
I'm excited to hear that you sound like your week was in step with mine. I think the feeling that I was going through my week, Kyle, was finding that second win. Now, when I say that to you as a wellness professional, what comes to mind?
That's when your tank is empty, when you ain't got nothing left, but you got more work to do. So you got to get that second win. Let's get your ass up and in gear and keep going.
Absolutely, man. And it's also something that, from an athletic perspective, refers to that phenomenon of changing energy.
Yes.
Right? You leave one energy system and you go into another energy system. Now, I ain't trying to bore everybody out, but when you deplete one reserve, you can still have different systems to get you through and move you forward. So feeling that in the midst of a bout of physical exertion is one thing, but then feeling that inside of the, just the philosophical areas that I want to get into in life and where I want to go towards, I felt that tank starting to get depleted, but I started to understand I could shift my energy and shift some of my priorities, my man. And that physiological shift and that energy change, Kyle, is something that I definitely want to talk about in this week's Ask the Professional, my man, because that energetic shift to me is going to be the preface of what I need to do to get longevity. Okay. Now, inside the pursuit of longevity, Kyle, I've seen some interesting things in these days and times.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are starting to realize that 40 and 50 today don't look like 40 and 50 used to look.
No chance.
And there's a specific reason why that happens, Kyle, and I'm going to tell you that this reason is for metabolic training, my man. So when I say metabolic training to you, what comes to mind?
When I'm thinking of metabolic training, I'm thinking of a lot of ballistic movement, and using some type of weight. Like I use the kettlebell, for example.
Okay.
Like that kettlebell is something that once you get into a couple of them swings at the right weight, you really get into that metabolic state where you're burning a lot of calories just by movement alone.
Yeah, so you're burning calories by movement alone. I'm going to go even simpler terms. It is referring to how well your body processes what you eat, what you drink, and the energy that you can use it for to keep you balanced as you start to move through everything, right? So metabolic health is extremely important, right? Yeah. Now, Kyle, I say 40 and 50 don't look the same because I look at some of my OGs during this time frame, right? And I see some of these OGs exhibiting bouts of energy that most people do not account for, that somebody at that age range is going to come through with. So I got to go to the shores of Shaolin, and I'm going to take a look at none other than METHOD man,
okay,
who has been in the gym for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody has been paying attention to Method Man doing his deadlifts in there. He's been putting the weights up, but
that
this
man
week
had a chest and shoulders for some years now.
So one would expect people to know that his metabolic conditioning is up, but this week Method Man had to make somebody understand that protect your neck was a real thing. And people had to understand when he put hands on homie inside of the Crunch Fitness that his metabolic conditioning was at peak level, Kyle.
Yikes.
Now, there might have been some interactions that happened beforehand that led up to this situation, but again, I knew two things about this young man when he came on the other side of Method Man's hands, bro.
What's up?
One, he had never really understood, again, the deep kind of level of torture that this man has laid out on all these different Wu-Tang tracks.
That's a fact.
He never understood that. But then second, his metabolic conditioning was not where it needed to be. So Kyle, I want to talk about in this week's
you
professional.
Get off my cloud.
Exactly. You don't know me.
You don't know
my style. So what are the most important exercises to improve your metabolic health, especially for beginners?
Man, I am just thinking about full body karate because you're going to need that, especially when you're going up against Shaolin's finest.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, for layman's terms, full body karate is just general mobility, general self-awareness, and I want to say like basic movement, bro. Like if you can't squat, if you can't push up, if you can't do a pull up, like that's it. That's not even equipment based, right? You need those full body movements to be able to utilize those energy systems you talked about, to be able to get the best out of life, especially as you get older. Now, when it comes to trying folks like Method Man, be worried.
Yeah, so I'm going to go into that part a little bit deeper, but what Kyle is referring to on the first part of that is really training in different energy systems is going to make you more adaptive in those energy systems. So strength training, for sure, is going to be something that helps you. And, you know, you want to hit the big five, kind of like Kyle was going into, your squats, your hinges, your pushes, your pulls, your rotations, anything that's going on inside of that direction, right? It doesn't have to be overt or brand new, shiny kind of crazy movements. You stick with the big five and you'll get a long way, right? The next thing you also want to incorporate is some of those lower level impact activities, which is going to help you really get into that long-term kind of energetic expenditure, right? So I'm thinking about your cycling, your walks, things that are relatively low, but when you finish up with those low energy reserves and you can kind of sustain those for a long time, you got to bring some HIIT training in there. Now, I'm not talking about the HIIT training that happened at Crunch Fitness. I'm talking about some high intensity interval training, Kyle. Now, the HIIT training is going to be the short bursts, intense bouts of exercise that, you know, improve cardiovascular performance, but also help that metabolism stay up. Now, last but not least, I got to have a PSA for anybody that's deciding to fight inside of the gym. So Method Man was on there this week, but also I saw that Tekashi 6ix9ine is starting to sue somebody for people putting their hands, feet, dumbbells, barbells, and kettlebells all on him when he was inside of LA Fitness. He's suing LA Fitness for not protecting him inside the gym, and I really do have to make sure that people understand. When you're in the gym and you decide to bring the ruckus, right? Bring the mother. You gotta understand, this is one of the worst places for you to be getting into a fight. Just by and large, the weapons that are around people are insane. And then when you're expecting somebody from the gym to protect you, as a person who used to walk and work in the gym and be around people in the facility all the time, I need to know what you did before I intervene. I need to know why you pissed these people off specifically. Who did you piss off? And then last but not least, how much is this gym paying me for my obligation to protect you and your neck from this ass whooping that you're getting? Because most of the time you ain't getting paid enough to jump in any of these type of altercations.
You bring up a lot of valid points. There isn't enough pay in the world for me to step into a fight between Method Man and a gym goer, nor to help 6ix9ine, Tekashi, whatever his name is, from getting his ass whooped in the gym. When you step into these places, know that you signed that little liability waiver.
That's it right there.
So the gym ain't got nothing to do.
That's your ass.
With you.
I rack these weights. I'll be like, hey, we got to put these back. Get these in the right order.
There's some towels over there. Go wipe yourself off. It's a sauna, depending on where you at.
Yeah.
Go reset and try getting them off.
I definitely have some stories about when people got not all the way fully shaken inside the gym, but definitely got into some altercations where they was looking at me to intervene, and I was like, hey, dog, this 15 an hour?
Look at the time.
This ain't going to be the thing that get it done.
Look at the time.
You started this, and I ain't going to be the person that's going to intervene here. But, neither here nor there, Kyle. I hope people understand why you need to have your metabolic training up.
Stop selling them wolf tickets.
Keep running your mouth.
Yeah.
You're going to make sure that your feet need to run exactly the same way, Kyle. I'm going to get out of that. And I'm going to get into a little bit of good. I'm going to get into some bad.
All right.
And I'm going to talk about some ugly this week. That's right, Kyle. It's time for this week's episode of Ripped from the Headlines. And up first, Nigel Sylvester, Brick by Brick, is something that I've seen on my timeline heavily over the past week.
Yeah, for sure.
This man has had his foot on the neck of everybody in biking for a long time, and it don't look like he's letting up no time soon, man. So I had to shout this brother out, because when he unveiled the Brick by Brick, not only just the truck, but the whole celebration that went down leading up to the unveiling of his new shoe dropping and the line that's coming along with it, man, it is creating a level of separation that don't even make sense no more.
Facts. I love everything that you're talking about. I haven't fully got a chance to take in the video from everything that really transpired, but I did get a chance to see folks like Chad.
Salute to the brother Chad.
Riding that bike in there, and to see Nigel move like this, man, it is incredible, because we've seen and talked about the same day bike ride in London and in New York.
We've been on one of those rides.
Facts. So his artistry is growing well past the bike that he started on. And I just love to see that, man.
I love to see the fact that it's not only a celebration of his entire journey through his dedication to his craft, but he's also bringing in real riders, like people that we actually ride with. I've seen him bring, and they're doing the runways that he's doing. The runway is also an extension of the stuff that he's been a part of, too. He's been running it up with some high fashion brands for a long time. And you see this man walking down the runway, now he's recreating that, and he's even bringing in the elements of hip hop into some of the performances on there, man. It's got to be a salute all the way across, even down to the accents on the shoe having the 3M hits, because he said when you're riding at night, you can still see the visibility is up, man. This is end-to-end thought process, brick by brick. I got to salute this man.
That's a fact. And that 4, the Jordan 4, is one of my favorite Jordans, actually.
Silhouette is tough.
That I still have. And just for biking, like, it's a great shoe because of how wide it is.
Yeah.
His colorway, and I'm going to probably say Nina Chanel, they probably got the best between that 3 and that 4, like, Jordans that have come out as of late. Like, they really creating.
And it's not the boneless version, them 3.5s or whatever that thing was, that the low tops. I still can't condone on the way.
We're not even talking about that.
I salute him either way on that, man. Moving on, Kyle. I needed to take a look at this next story and take a pause, because sometimes when people tell you that they discover something brand new, you got to be like, well, who all was a part of this discovery? Now, Kyle, did you see that this week Whoop has unveiled some breaking ground, right? They have come up with a fertility biomarker based off of all of the aggregate data that they have that can tell women when they are going to be more fertile in their cycle, right? So this was not something that they was initially measuring on the Whoop strap, but based off of all of the different cardiovascular peaks and valleys that they can aggregate over 11,500 women that they've been studying, they could tell when you are where you are in your monthly cycle. So if you are trying to figure out when's the best time, Whoop, there it is, bro. They could bring this right out to you. What's your thoughts on hearing that Whoop knows all this information about you and could tell you, hey, if you want to leave it in, here's your opportunity.
That's a lot you laid out there. And I want the record to reflect that you stole my Whoop there it is line. So I can't even get it out. Secondarily, I don't really get in between women's business that much. Like,
I don't either.
That often. I feel like that's something that I elect the right for you to make the decisions you want about your body and all that comes with.
Same.
Secondarily, I feel like women tracking their ovulation and their cycle in general is not something that's foreign. Like there's apps and stuff like that. Like I feel like my lady has an app, so I know that exists. For it to exist on a Whoop strap is a bit too personal for my liking.
What would be the male equivalent?
How many nuts you had,
trying to see how quick you shooting off.
Got the little waistband around your gentleman.
Today's the day.
Yeah. Bust a nut.
You got peak performance coming out right now.
Get
Gold medalist level effort is coming out today. Tomorrow it's going to be them puppy pumps. Get in there. Take care of business.
Just call that a little half pipe. You know what I'm saying? You got to know yourself, gents. Don't be out there giving women no half pipe. Ever.
Staying in women's business for a little bit longer. This next article came out of Pop Sugar, bro. And apparently, hot girl walks are out, Kyle.
Really?
This article is telling you why you should be investing in going to ruck, right? So rucking is that exercise that we've talked about that Kyle has made fun of me before, and this is walking with a weighted vest. Now, here's some of the benefits that come along with you walking with a weighted vest. Mm-hmm. You get muscular development, right? That's going to enhance all of the major muscle groups throughout your body. You got to get your core stabilization. You got to get your posture right. It's going to improve your bone density. It's also even going to help you with your cardiovascular health and postural alignment, right? So, Kyle, I know that you hated on me for nucking while I rucked, right? I know that you did.
Nope.
But now that there is a new trend to nuck while you ruck, Kyle, I need to understand what's going to be on the rucking playlist when you hit the streets with your weighted vest.
I need you to take the next couple plays off. Because we not going to act like you ain't just mixed.
Nuck while you ruck, bro.
See, that's why I need you to stop right there. Of course, Nuck, if you buck, is going to be number one on the playlist of my rucking playlist. Believe it or not, I need that aggressive Southern energy. Like, I need that Project Pat, that 3-6 Mafia.
So it tracks, is what I'm saying.
That's
so
what
you
I
sound
need.
like a fan of what I'm saying.
I was already hiking. Rucking is a different story because I'm heavy enough as is. So, like, to get over 200 pounds up and down these hills is a lot. But if there was a nice vest out there, I might be open to a little ruck from time to time.
Okay, so you're going to get your ruck on, too. I like that, Kyle. I like that. Now, after you get the rucking, you're going to need to get a little bit of rest and relaxation, Kyle.
That's right.
This week, Equinox Hotels debuted a sleep optimization lab. Now, Kyle, Equinox has partnered with Dr. Matthew Walker. He is famous for his sleep research, and they are now letting people come in and participate in this sleep research in their New York facility, right? So they are unveiling advanced technologies down to the temperatures of the room, the lighting situations that you have going on, the amount of oxygen that you're saturating the room with. There are so many different things that they are really just micro adjusting to get you to have the best quality sleep. They have started to roll out a jet lag recovery program that can help people from traveling all over the world. I've just dealt with somebody else dealing with about a jet lag that made my sleep all messed up.
Yeah.
Right? I can understand why this is something that the optimization is going to be really key, but sleep as a service is now for sale, Kyle. And as good sleep services looking like they're catching some top dollar, they're starting to roll out in these luxury hotels, sleep suites. Kyle, I wanted to understand, if you had to come up with a sleep service, what would it be?
If I had to come up with a sleep service...
Yeah, how you going to help the public out here with your sleep services?
My sleep services would look a little calming, similar to like a little pod. We're going to just sleep like some vampires.
Okay.
We're going to get you set up in a nice box to your liking, but it's going to be pod-shaped, you know what I mean?
So pod-shaped coffins is what you bring into the game.
Relax a little bit, have some good music in there, let you fall asleep. I do recognize that they did, in fact, clone Tyrone, and I feel like when you get into spaces like this, be wary of folks tracking your sleep because you're vulnerable, all right? Don't just be sleeping anywhere. Don't be sleeping with everybody.
So Kyle is sticking with the sleep is the cousin of death Nas analogy on that one.
Facts.
I'm here for the sleep research, and I'm going to keep my investigations going.
Sleep research is necessary, especially if you got like sleep apnea or you got one of them CPAP machines.
All of that.
All types of stuff. Do your research because there's a lot of folks out there dying in their sleep. No pun intended. That's some real shit that I need y'all to do better with.
See, the medical world and the fitness world are getting closer and closer intertwined, Kyle.
Of course.
So this last story that I saw is only highlighting this even further, Kyle. Now, F45.
Stop it right there.
The gym that has popularized a form of metabolic training. I can't knock them for that because that is accurate, Kyle. And they have been on the market for quite some time. Kyle, this week, F45 decided to add to their list of offerings GL1P services, Kyle. That's right. In collaboration with their doctor and a telehealth provider, they are going to be rolling out comprehensive wellness offerings that pair the workouts with these drugs that have been popularized by a number of places that I've already named way too many times on this damn show. Kyle, what's your thoughts about hearing the Ready Rock is coming to the block? Whenever you have people getting together inside of a fitness studio, they can also get this shot right here. How you feeling about that?
It's nasty business, Tony.
Why is that?
I don't want to hear about it, man. I've been trying to see how I can paint this picture so that folks can equate what's happening.
It's unprecedented, bro.
Imagine going to buy a pair of sneakers, right? It's like, yo, I'm going to go get those new Jordans that Nigel just dropped. Yeah. Hey, but with these Jordans, you could also get this fried chicken.
Or you can get some antidepressant medications. It's like, yo, these Jordans are going to make you feel happy. Yeah. And some Zoloft at the same time.
Right here. This. Try it out.
Right from the same Nike.
Extra $10 on your purchase. You could leave with this today.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for you. It's like, why am I getting drugs with my Jordans and you offer me fried chicken too? Like, it's such a bad route to take that people are just ignorant to.
I think it's something that again, the trend is the trend for a reason. These are never going back into the bottle. It's like once you put this out on the block, it is taking over.
Once you pop.
The fun is not going to stop, Kyle. It is in so many different places, and it is so readily accessible that the leading companies are now even trying to figure out different interventions that don't require the injection. So the makers of these GL1Ps are working on a digestible version of this. So there will be a dietary pill on the market before 2025 is out that will continue to boost these sales and continue to boost people's access to these drugs that have, again, like I listed before, clustered effects that don't just impact one thing. I will find one silver lining around this story is that the fact that they're at least pairing this with some kind of resistance training will mitigate some of the issues that people are seeing with the loss in bone density. Yeah. Might mitigate some of the issues that people are seeing with the loss in muscle mass. There are some people that shockingly resemble matchsticks out here that are not paying attention to the weightlifting kind of component, and this is why I had to put this in the ugly for this week's rip from the headlines, my man.
Matchsticks, Tony?
There's some matchsticks people. You know who I'm talking about. I don't want to put that brother's name out there like that. But he looked like a struck match. I've seen him. And I was like, yo, hey, dog, you ain't just going to get this off with no type of muscle tone. Why are you flexing on me with no muscles and acting like this was all from a workout that I know you wasn't putting in the metabolic time, energy, or effort to get to? You know exactly what I'm speaking of.
I do, actually. I caution people who take the fast route with these type of drugs solely because when you think about the science, like scientifically, the healthy way is to lose 1 pound a week.
Maybe 1 to 2, yeah.
1 to 2 at best, right? There's 52 weeks in a year. That means, theoretically speaking, it should take a year to lose 50 pounds. Right? A little more in that range, the healthy way. And that way comes with, your skin, developing the way that it should and shrinking the way that it should. And you think about people that have those excess layers of skin. Now you got to get another surgery because you done lost weight too damn fast. Like, the cycle is such, cyclical space that just kind of repeats over and over.
Yeah, the collagen don't really respond that way. Your snapback game ain't really gonna be the snappest.
Not at all.
if you lose a radical amount of weight in a short amount of time. And yeah, I still thinking about it from the endearing aspect of it. I understand why somebody would want to take the easier route.
Yeah,
I totally get it, especially if you're somebody who has struggled with these kind of conditions for longer periods of your life, or you've seen what can happen with people holding on to excess weight for a long time. I understand that wholeheartedly, and I can see why an easier path should be something that is investigated. I just also want people to be aware of the cost of that investigation because it doesn't come for free. If they're giving you the easy button to press, You have to ask at what cost. The stomach issues, the muscle loss, the bone density loss are things that are documented too good at this point. Please check in with all the different support systems that you have before you make that decision. And hey, man, people still want to defer that, responsibility of trying to show up. Here's a faster route. Just be aware of what you buy.
I never want to vilify the easy path, but I do want to offer the joy and just overall betterness you receive with that harder path.
The accomplishment factor is something that, it is beneficial, but you also have to believe that better day can come. You know what I mean? I am not somebody who's going to oversell you on just like, yo, we just got to go through hard for the sake of hard, fam. No. I'm actually quite on the opposite of that.
Trying to get rid of those days.
Yeah, I don't want that to be something that's misunderstood or misinterpreted from that. It's not just, hey, you need to do this because it's the tough way. Nah, you should probably take a look at what comes with this for longevity and for sustainability.
Love that you touched on those 2 points. We'll pick back up on that later in the Raising the Bar segment. But I'm going to slide into my little rip from the headlines real quick. Let the folks know what I saw this week. Speaking of the not easier path, if you will, the first thing that I saw was Mick Jenkins. Faithful listeners of the show will know he's an artist of mine that I truly love. He dropped a new EP called Type Shit.
Okay.
It was independently dropped on a platform called Even Biz, in which you could pay what you want. The Type Shit EP has 5 tracks on there. It also comes with, the artwork, some other photos and things of that nature that you get once you make this purchase. How do you feel about seeing an artist like Mick Jenkins take a step in a direction of more of an independent wave to connect actual fans with their music?
I think, first and foremost, Mick Jenkins is somebody that needed to be appreciated at the height of his popularity for some of the things that he was really pushing, like just his topics and everything else that he was unpacking, being somebody that is in the poetic kind of side, but also raps. This dude is phenomenal in my book, right? So to see him do something that allows him to have the freedom to create and that freedom of expression hopefully gives him the freedom of supporting his art and putting it out the way that he wants to, and he could put his stuff out and support his family. I am all about this, man. I think more and more people need to understand that this is going to be the route forward. Whatever it is that you were known for, whatever it is that you want to kind of promote to the crowds that you need to promote them to, you have to have an innovative way to get it to them. That direct-to-consumer market is not just for Amazon anymore. It's not just for the companies that you would assume are the big companies that can ship it out. I think all commerce is coming direct to consumer. So if you are in an industry where your name, image, likeness are going to be the things that you want to make money off of, you need to find a way to connect to consumers.
I love that. Got no notes. You mentioned big business. So naturally, my next story would have to fall on big business. And this is Apple Fitness releasing a pickleball training program. You just spoke about direct-to-consumer business. This is a large corporation quite literally meeting folks at a popular sport that we've talked about on here. I personally am not a fan of. How do you feel about seeing this?
I think pickleball is a game. Padel is the sport that's kind of derived in that direction.
Okay.
All of these are in alignment with people trying to have rotational sports or racket-based sports be a little bit more accessible, and the popularity of it. Forget how I feel about it. I've walked in the neighborhood in Bed-Stuy where I've seen people take over basketball courts for pickleball. I've seen it.
That's a crime.
And I've seen it almost get to the fair one at different points in time. So it's not about how I feel about it. This is something that the lead indicators are already there. People want this to be something that they have better access to. If they are also the same type of people that were never training beforehand, they're going to jack themselves up. There's going to be all types of rotator issues. There's going to be knee issues, ankle issues from you not being able to adequately move laterally, not being able to decelerate, not being able to change direction. Those would come to your weekend warriors with a bunch of issues. So if you could train yourself for the activity or the sport that you like and is coming up in that popularity, why not? I got to shout out to them for doing that. And I got to salute the good brother YD Yoga Dan, who's also Paddle Dan, that I think he was innovative to be early to the party on that one. So got to shout him out for it, man. It's people doing the thing that I kind of knew was happening. Paddle is New York City's version of the golf club now. If you really take a look at it, it's like, yo, the young homies that got some money, this is where you're going. It's going to cost you about $250 a pop on not pickleball. Padel is going to cost you about $250 a pop to get that court going off. That's tea time in a space where we don't have a lot of greenway. So listen, the deals that are happening at those spaces and everything else that's going on, just understand this is where new money is coming to exchange, blow off some steam, and there's a reason why you should pay attention to why Apple's paying attention to that world.
I was gonna try to bring that up, but I think you covered a lot of ground on that. To just double down, back when we were painting a wall outside of one of these paddle spaces that you're speaking of, there used to be a Maybach parked out there, every day from, noon to 2. That's where the money was, is what I'm getting at.
That's why the biggest boss was also talking about Envy being his pickleboard paddle polisher.
He was actually talking about DJ Envy's wife. We're not going to give any insight to that, but it's funny you landed in such a beef, if you will. The beef that I saw that is actually old, that I'm just, revisiting and bringing to the surface, was a video that you sent me, actually, and this was Cordae, the rapper, making a song about his mother's experience trying out for Making the Band, the show that Diddy had, in which he made these women run 6 miles in Central Park with no notice. It just a day's wake up notice. Hey, I need y'all to be ready in an hour. We gonna go do something active. That was it. And then that activity then turns into a 6-mile run. How do you feel about seeing something of that sort?
First of all, Cordae had one of my favorite albums from last year. As I go back and really re-listen to it and unpack it, I really like his energy and effort that he put into that last album. So shout out to him for that. Then immediately after that, as a trainer, if I was just meeting you for the first time and I was like, hey, dog, I need you to go run 6 miles off rip, I'd be like, what? If I was the client receiving that information, I'm like,
throwing hands.
What's wrong with you? Why do you think that that's something that everybody just has?
Got me fucked up.
Yeah. So not only is it something that's sensationalistic to push somebody towards, it's wildly not only disrespectful, it's dangerous to put somebody in that situation off rip. And it kind of tracks with all the other stuff that is going on in that brother Sean's life. It
makes sense.
And I like the redemption arc in that story. So even in the song that he's mentioning and going through that his mom tried out for Making a Band, he's sampling his mother's song as he's telling this story. So I thought that shit was a great way to flip a terrible situation. And he got to the better part of it. And luckily, his mom did not go with Diddy, because look at what ended up happening with all the people that actually did. So I think it played out the best way.
Yeah, man. It was nasty from the jump. I don't even want to dive too deep into that because there's a lot to unpack and uncover there. I did want to bring up the wellness in that. Speaking of just nasty stuff, we're just going to keep going down this line, brother. Now, this is another one of those things where, I hate to do it, but I had to come to this food crime that I witnessed. And I'm going to blow the whistle if nobody else is going to do the work. Brother Tone, how do you feel about 2 McDonald's hash browns turning into a sandwich with McFlurry in between it?
I think this is a mythical internet thing because the McFlurry machines at McDonald's are never working, so you can't get that.
I disagree. Don't ask me how I know. Just know that McFlurries actually changed the way that they were when I used to get them back in the day. You used to get the little cup with the plastic kind of rim on top. That is no longer the case. Now it comes in essentially like a fry kind of container that's just open on both sides. There's no lid. It's madness. The McFlurry machine is up and running. Don't ask me how I know once again, but just know that a hash brown with ice cream is wild.
Yeah,
man.
The off-menu items is going to be the thing that I'm happy about TikTok dying for, bro.
If the McRib was bad, a hash brown with ice cream in between it, both of them?
These are the decisions of a person who stopped caring about life in every category of life. He was like, you know what? I don't just want breakfast. I also would like to have an Oreo cookie cream crumble in between my breakfast sandwich. It was like, where you at in life? that was a good decision.
How do you even handle that? Do you put it in the paper? Like, what does that come in?
It should come with
a death sentence, a life sentence in prison.
I ain't gonna go that far.
Because you need 3 hots in the cot the way you eating. It's a crime.
It should definitely come with a call. Like, hey, man, you all right? You gotta check this hotline out. Hey, we just wanted to see where you at in life.
Dial this number now because you need it. It's ugly. I saw a TikTok, you brought it up, and there was a young lady that was like, people always caring about healthcare and how it's so crazy in America. And then she immediately went to, y'all got Cinnamon Toast Crunch bacon.
Nah.
It was Cinnamon Toast Crunch bacon in a store. It was like, you mad about healthcare and you buying this type of shit because you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
That was ugly, Tone. I got one last story to get through, and this was new and bad and ugly. It made me feel all types of way. The FDA came out with a ban for red dye number 3, Tony.
Yeah, they did.
Now, can you speak to your experience by way of red dye number 3? Is there anything that comes to mind off the top of your dome?
It damn sure does, bro. I feel like I'm probably going to be short a good 20 years of my life as a person who was born in 1986.
Yep.
This has penetrated too much of my life for me to say that I can't get rid of it, bro.
Let's take it easy on your penetration, all right?
If you are ever a person who came from the neighborhoods that I came from, bro, this shit was in everything.
Yes.
It's like I drank a quart of water. You know how much, first of all, the plastic and the red dye in the quart of waters.
Let's not talk about microplastics.
They're shaving so much time off my life. I don't know how I made it this far, to be honest with you.
So I just wanted to give you a little quick rundown
Jolly Ranchers
of things that red dye might be in. First would be candy, Tony. We are talking Valentine's Day candy. We're talking about gummy bears.
All your favorite flavors was red.
Ring pops, Pez dispensers. You just talked about desserts as well. Certain brands of ice cream.
Yes.
We're talking about popsicles. We're talking about nerds, cupcakes, cakes, cookies, sprinkles, and last but not least, we talk about snacks and other foods. Nesquik is on that list. We talk
strawberry
about
milk,
bacon bits. Surprisingly,
it's in too much for you to not have had any interaction with this. If you grew up in a time where TV dinners was rocking, you definitely got some shaky health shit.
TV dinners was a sad time in America. I definitely had that little duck, whatever that shit was. You know, penguin, the animal. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. With the little brownie and that shit.
That brownie was trash.
It was plastic. It was just
all of it was plastic, and you warmed it up in the devil's box, which was the microwave. Trauma.
Nah, now we just remixed the
struggle meals.
We remixed the struggle meal and made them gourmet. So now you could get the same TV microwave dinner, but it's going to cost you about another $15, $20 on top of it. I ain't going to disparage none of them companies.
Yikes.
But it's the same shit.
That it is, for sure. It's just remixed and repackaged, redrove, resold, repoed, all that. Man, that's ugly, Tony.
Dog.
Red dye, number 3. Rest in peace.
I really want to do the deep dive into what was inside of a quart of water. I'm talking about the ones that used to look like the grenades.
No, I'm with you.
And see somebody actually tell you what the science was.
They didn't have flavors. They had colors. Let me get a purple.
This is what I'm saying.
I want a purple, a red, and a blue. And give me an orange while you at it.
Ices back in the day. All of this shit was killing you at some point in time.
Everything was wrapped in plastic.
If it turns your tongue a different color,
it was a chemical.
Just understand you lost a good 5 years off of that.
Damn. That was almost like a badge of honor. Like, let me see your tongue, Pause. That sounds crazy. Speaking of your penetration, we got to get out of that, man. This is some ugly times that we in, and we're going to transition into a Raising the Bar segment. Brother Tone.
Let's raise it up then.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you now are in store to raise your bar. Brother Tone.
Yeah, man.
Today's Raising the Bar segment is going to be a little soliloquy about pushing past your comfort zone.
Okay.
Now, Brother Tone, my lens on what my comfort zone is has changed drastically. Before we get into that change, I want to briefly just speak on memory and nostalgia.
Okay.
We often remember the past through the lens of better days. Although there may be some credence in instances that may be true to those being better days, oftentimes is just internal bias romanticizing the past, right? I think about, can it be so, a little Gladys Knight in the Pips, if you will. Can it be so simple? Just recently, I was participating in a little of my own internal bias and romanticizing my past. And what came to memory first and the defining moments that really stuck out was when I broke out of my comfort zone. Each memory that stained my brain was a story relived. It was a story worth telling. And it was because I pushed past the status quo. From athletics, fashion choices, pursuing women, tattooing my body, employment opportunities, even breaking the law in some cases.
Don't condone that.
We're not going to talk about what I did, but you was with me multiple times. As
sure
my,
wasn't. Sent to get down the hotline. No, I was not.
If you will. The list goes on. But what I found was my desire turned into a decision. Mm-hmm. Let's fast forward to present day. The world as we know it has been programming us for comfort in every sense, from technology to automation, innovation to enhance the diminishment of mankind as we know it.
Yeah.
Now more than ever, your own health and well-being is being attacked through large corporations looking to capitalize off of your ignorance, thus making prioritizing your own health and wellness a radical revolutionary act. My comfort zone fully shifted to sustainability. One of the core pillars of my Organic Thug brand, if you will, is being rooted in this idea of access to the highest quality of life possible, paired with the work to attain such a luxury. By any means, I'm going to get the best of everything in no small way. I'm bogarting anything disrupting my path forward, and I'm stepping out of my comfort zone into yours. Rent is due every day, and you got to pay your fare. You know what I'm saying? Now, Brother Tone.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to pushing past your comfort zone, I know that you have lots of discourse about your own comfort zone, and you got some bars that you can give the people about what kind of advice you could give them struggling with comfort zone issues off the strength.
The first thing I would want to understand is, what do you mean by struggle? Because the struggle...
my fault, let me clarify before you dive into it. The struggle being, how do you, one, identify your comfort zone, and two, break out of it? Like, those are two important steps that I think need to happen.
Yeah, I think the struggle really to stay comfortable is a little bit of a lie in my perspective. It kind of... Comfort is going to be that enemy of success in a lot of different ways for me, or at least the enemy of progress.
Okay.
Right? The falsehood that you can be comfortable and advance or grow is not something that you see anywhere in nature. Forget anything else. You don't see something, you can't plant a seed and not have to work against the soil, and not have to work against the soil in both directions, growing the roots and growing up. That is some form of discomfort. You know, you have to break through in order to make yourself move forward. I don't know if the idea that most people have around that comfort of safety, security, of things that are going to be unchanging, I don't know if that's ever been true for anybody. If you do have that, you are living a very blessed life, that you have that level of certainty that things can stay exactly the way that you prefer them to, and you don't have to do anything to elicit, you know, the support that you need to keep that going in place. That's the life that I don't know.
That sounds comfortable, actually.
It does. It's like that. I don't understand that. I can't speak to that. I don't really have an idea of where that could go. What most people would want to seek comfort in is the avoidance of doing something different in order to move forward. Now, that can happen for a number of different reasons. It could happen from the stories that you tell yourself about what that different level of work is going to look like, where it's going to take you. It could be wrapped in fear of failure. It could be wrapped in fear of success. But the only thing I can tell you definitively, if you don't do anything, that comfort that you even think that you have is only going to erode and go away, at least in every instance that I've ever had a chance to, you know, really trying to grapple with that concept. So at the end of the day, comfort for the things that I'm trying to advance in, I try to find the accountability standpoint in there. So it's like, why do I feel comfortable letting this be the truth that I'm trying to work around? And how do I maneuver myself to be in a better position to change that or have an alternative to that kind of narrative. And that does require, just like some of the hardest concepts inside of fitness, you got to get over that inertia first. That if you are standing at rest, that body wants to stay at rest. The body in motion is going to want to keep going in motion. So if you can overcome whatever it is that's keeping your mind locked in the fact that this is a good space and you want to change, I think that's the first hurdle to get over to actually make some progress happen.
Man, the first thing that really drew my attention to this response of yours is just the comparison to nature, right? The comparison to a seed being planted and then having to grow in both directions. That's evolution, whether we look at that, whether you look at a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, right? Like there has to be a breaking of the glass. There has to be, you got to crack an egg to make an omelet, right? Like there's no way that you can remain in one state forever.
Yeah.
That's just not possible, and that's a sure way to literally die, right? And I feel like the other piece that you brought up was someone that actually does have comfort, right? Like it's foreign to you, but there are people that live like that in this bubble of just a safety net, a routine, a regimen of like my day-to-day is this. And I feel like, at least for me, that is just not a way to experience the fullness of life, right? And it is temporary because at some point, life is going to disrupt that. Regardless of how comfortable you are, that's just a given.
Yeah.
So I think that this advice and this conversation is important because everyone has a comfort zone, and that's something you have to grow from until the day you die. Like that's not even something that's debatable. That's a matter of you need to check in. You need to make sure that you're comfortable enough with your boundaries. Like, do you have them set in place? Have you explored what is outside of your comfort zone? When's the last time you did that? Right? Just having these type of reflections and insights, I feel, is extremely pivotal just for everyday development.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And if it is something that not everything comfort-based is a negative, right? I don't want to put that out there as like the overarching kind of thing. Some areas of your life you should have comforts in. You just
100%
need to understand what that actually means. You know, if you are looking to make some type of change and comfort is also important to you, you have some decisions to make. It's like, at what level do you need to titrate that change or your level of comfort in order to move into the direction that you want to move into?
That's a fact, brother. You know, I be sleeping on that Egyptian cotton. You know what I'm saying? Thread
very
count
comfortable.
is through the roof. It's very plush pillows. We even got the silk pillowcases so my locks don't get lint in them. I sleep very comfortably, but I work my ass off to do it. You know what I'm saying? That only leads us into this relaxation segment. Tony, you want to talk to the folks about relax responsibly?
Yes, my friend. Okay, it's time to relax responsibly with the good folks over at Off the Strength. And this week, Relax Responsibly is brought to you in part by the brother K.R. Jones and the classes that he is holding at Frequency Movement. Kyle, why don't you let the good listeners know a little bit more about that?
The good folks need to know that I am teaching my Roll Up and Roll Out class Wednesdays at 8 p.m. as well as my Elevated Yoga class Saturdays at 11 a.m. Now, I'm not going to say that you need weed to be fit and mobile. I will say that it does allow you to relax.
Okay.
And get in the space that you need to be to work through any type of stress, any type of, pain that you may have within the body.
You can tap in and you can do a little bit more of that internal work and hopefully be guided with the rhythmic sounds and the professional level of education that my brother brings to the room every time he steps in there. So go ahead and make sure you check out that Roll Up and Roll Out and
Elevated Yoga. How was you relaxing responsibly this week, brother?
Man, I will tell you that this was a hard topic for me to come by.
Okay.
I found some relaxation by cleaning with purpose, Kyle. Now, I will tell you, on my route to cleaning with purpose, there was many a different opportunity for me to feel unrelaxed. But I was committed to my stoic ways, deep down into the bag, that I know that by the process of doing this deep cleaning and doing some decluttering, I was going to feel like the energy in the room was literally going to shift. So that reason and that reason alone is why I was able to relax. Now, I will go deeper into that at another date, but right now, I'll just focus on this. It wasn't a surface cleaning. It needed to get down up in the root. do some deep cleaning, Kyle. That's where I need to come from.
Sounds like you had a little addition with some subtraction, if you know what I'm saying.
Needed to be some subtraction, bro.
I see that. I love that for you, man. I'm a huge Marie Kondo fan.
Yeah, exactly. The minimalism.
Minimalism.
We need to have a black minimalism movement. I don't know what that's going to look like.
It's coming from Off the Strength, brother. You're getting everything. We getting the book. We getting to get rid of your shit.
Declutter.
to declutter and Marie Kondo the Off the Strength way.
I like it.
My relaxation this week, I actually snuck in some relaxation because a dear friend of mine blessed me with some tickets.
Okay.
Now, when you have good friends in your life, you know, you are in that ecosystem of like, y'all feed off of one another. We like the same kind of music. We like a good meal.
Absolutely.
And if you would buy tickets to a concert or event and you can't make it, you would probably hit somebody that you know would enjoy that kind of thing.
For sure.
That's how New York goes, right? So fast forward to me getting these tickets to Record Club at Public Records. And it was an intimate room with intentional listening where we learned about an artist's journey through music, only enhanced by a complimentary pre-roll from the good old company Old Pals.
The Old Pals, you say? The
Old Pals, Tony. Now, faithful listeners of the show will know that we had a celebrity appearance by the good brother B-Try from Travel Agency about 2 episodes back on 297, right? Now, when he came through, we then pulled up on him, and that was my first introduction to some Old Pals.
There we go.
And we had a reintroduction, if you will, at this listening event, man. The artist that we took the deep dive into was Shaka Khan, and we went into her vinyl album of What You Gonna Do For Me. I believe that might have been like her 3rd solo project, but it was a time, it felt like she was in the room. For sure, even though she wasn't like that, that was like a concert we went to.
That's what's up, man. It sounds like an ultimate elevated relaxation situation.
You're damn right it was, Tony.
I like the way that fits on you, my man.
I have you know, my dry January is a little in question, but I did not drink that night.
I'm still committed to the dry January, man.
I'm committed. I'm just letting you know that, you know, sometimes.
I'm holding the anchor down on the Off the Strength team.
We both are. But let's just say my February going to start around the 4th.
Okay.
If you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Your math is a little, you know, it's concerning. And
no, man, it's dry.
The concern around this math is going to make me need to get into my next segment. It's going to be some mind over matter, Kyle.
Okay.
Some of the stuff that you are putting out there, it's got my mind questioning your matters over there.
You say so?
But this, again, reminder is the personal development segment designed to help you evolve and thrive in 2025, Kyle. Now, this week, I have finished the 12-week year, and I'm going to unpack my last useful tool from there that I want to share with the good people out there, my man. And this is going to be the tool of coming up with a scorecard for the week. Now, Kyle, I'm doing this for enhanced accountability for myself, right? Accountability equals ownership. When you can have a clarity on your priorities that you need, you are able to focus on them. You can even see what the indicators are when you're not having focus. And the other thing that it helps me prevent myself from going into is that trap of perfection. Now, the scorecard, very rarely are you going to get 100 out of 100 in the scorecard, right?
Yeah.
But if you could consistently show up for 85, 90% of the time, you'd be surprised how much progress you actually are making. But you cannot manage what you don't measure. You can't grow from anything that you are not actually tracking and accounting for. How do you understand what things are moving you in the direction that you want to go into? So all of the potential improvements implemented across the course of a week, I want to have that opportunity to stop, reflect on the last day, on my Sunday, before I set up my new goals for the week. I'm going to go back to my scorecard, see how I was doing, and you got to be honest in that process, because you're only playing yourself if you're lying to yourself on your scorecard, Kyle.
That part.
So
you can't manage what you can't measure what you can't manage with a bar for the folks out there. And I love the idea of grading yourself, right? It just shows a different approach to growth. It shows a different approach to reflection. It shows a different approach to the betterment of yourself, right? Like really getting into that academia and putting it out on the scorecard. I'm thinking much about like what's the FMS scorecard back in the day.
You got to bring those skills into the other parts of your life, Kyle. That's what I keep trying to do. This is what this development is really about. It's stuff that you know, but how you implement it is going to be actually surprising. Like for me, for instance, time on task is something that I didn't until I was measuring it, have a good thought about. So you might think that it'd take you an hour to do whatever this task is. But if you actually lock in and you spend, I'm going to do an hour worth of emails. You don't need a whole hour to do emails.
Nah.
If you lock into just that, set that time frame and actually pay attention to what's going on.
Probably 25 minutes.
Maybe at most. So all the other stuff that happens in between there is like, I got a bullshit. I don't want to look at this. I'm going to go turn this on. The ADD, ADHD start to kick in. You're like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, the old pal. Now you're on YouTube.
So time
learning
on
about
task.
how French fries are made.
Like, one of the things that's on the scorecard is, hey, how much time did you spend on the task at hand? Right? On a scale from 1 to 5, did you actually lock in on the time that you wanted to lock in on for that specific task? And that's going to be one of the things that I want to leave people with, man. Hey, pay attention to what you are actually saying that you want to do and how accurate you get on that space, because the more accurate you get, the closer you get to that goal, brother.
That's a fact. The last thing I just want to leave the people with briefly was I stumbled on one of them TikTok self-improvement videos, and there was a guy talking about how there's not enough time in a day. Like 24 hours is too short, so he broke it up into 3 different days. So his days were from 6 to noon, noon to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to midnight. And those were like, if I can program those windows for me to be productive in that. And I thought that was an interesting formula. Of course, I'm definitely sleep before midnight and I'm up before 6. So my formula is slightly different, but breaking it up into 3 different windows to be productive within and to switch gears, so to speak, allowed for a lot more productivity throughout my day.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the whole 12-week year was about. It's kind of like, you could break down a whole year to a quarter or a couple months. What would you do if you had that? Like, the crunch time is on, but you don't have to have crunch time on. Oh, okay, damn, I need to start to every day counts. If you can find a way to make every day actually count towards your goal, you will get to that goal.
That's a fact, man. Love that. Sounds like you're hopeful for something, brother.
Man, I damn sure am, Kyle. I am hopeful for a smooth transition of power in the upcoming days, first and foremost.
Oof.
I also am hopeful for a continued wave of peace on our home turf and across the seas, my man. And last but not least, I am hopeful that anybody that is feeling a little depleted, a little drawn down as they listen to this, and maybe even like their gas tank is on empty, I hope that you find that second win and let that energy shift you into the direction where you need to go.
Yay!
That's it on my side. What you hoping for, man?
Brother, man, I'm going to look at the camera when I say this.
Okay.
I'm hopeful that you break that glass ceiling. I hope that you get out of whatever that cage is that you're in. I hope you get up off your ass and get to it. That's it.
On the good foot.
On the good foot,
Now, if they
if your leg broke.
hop up on the good one. When they hop up on the good one, they're going to need to understand how to tap in with the brothers over here at Off the Strength. Kyle, where do they need to go?
You can find us on Instagram at offthestrength_, or you can visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can get in with us. We can link, we can build, we can make this thing work. If you're in the greatest city in the world, that is New York City, you can come on down to Rockefeller Center, where you can visit Newsstand Studios, where you can see us record live and direct at the block of the Rock. If you can't make it in, you could always visit Instagram at Rockefeller Center or X at Rock Center NYC.
Once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength from a trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to y'all out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Peace. Bam.
And cut. Print. Beautiful.
What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blog. Make sure you check us out on IG, and if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that, bro.
That's kind of how it feels. It's like, I'm time traveling, but the worst type of time traveling.
Yeah, I got this floppy disk, fam.
It's like, I need the Betamax. What the fuck you need a Betamax for, fam? Like, just help me understand.
For my 8-track, brother.
Help me understand.
For the Cutlass.
Where are you plugging this in?
I got the 66, man. The power still works.
Legitimately, a detachable radio. It's like, in what car are you going to throw this radio in?
For when I get that caddy I've been dreaming of, baby.
I just want to remove the face. It was like, the people don't even do shit like that no more.
When I get that Cadillac.
That is disgusting.
Oh, man, how you feeling, brother?
I'm all right, man. I'm just dealing with my frustrations of the day.
I feel that. You got the OT on, so you getting to it?
Yeah, man. Thugged out. I'm thugged out. I just seen a motherfucking rainbow, nigga.